Good morning, good afternoon, world. Welcome to our show, Option Forward. I'm Drew, always joined by the second half of the show. GQ Nesto, how you doing today?
What it do? I'm doing good.
All right. Now, you slept good last night?
Oh, I did. I got home, passed out, ready. Day 2. Let's go.
Day 2, let's go. All right, for sure. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest. Our special guest today, she's gonna provide a little light, give us some game on home ownership, and shed a little light on how we can generate real estate income without actually being property owners, if I'm correct. All right, but whatever information you're going to give, we're going to be receiving. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Miss Tanikia Washington. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. Thank you for having me.
How was your, where are you from? Where'd you fly in from?
I flew in from Norfolk, Virginia.
Did she say how you
757,
say that?
Norfolk.
Norfolk.
And I think I'm saying it right because, everyone says it different. I'm not a native.
Oh, you're not?
No, I'm originally from Andrews, South Carolina.
Okay.
It's about 3 stoplights. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. You're familiar with that?
Negative.
Myrtle Beach?
Yeah, I know. Bike week.
See, yes. So, yes, I'm originally from that area.
Okay, yeah, because I spent some time at Camp Lejeune, so
Okay,
I'm familiar. All right, did you get some rest last night? How'd you sleep?
I did get some rest. Jet lag is kicking my butt a little bit, but I'm here.
Okay, all right, bet. So let's jump right into it. Real estate, right? Real estate is your thing. Is that something that you saw yourself doing, like, say, for instance, like 15-year-old Tanikia? Like, what were you doing?
Ooh.
What did you think back then?
Let me tell you, my career plans have changed, and I'm not exaggerating, at least 30 times. And I guess the latest, or before I actually jumped into real estate, I thought I was going to be a preschool teacher. I tried that, did not like it at all. So I always admired those who invested into real estate or was involved with real estate, specifically fixing and flipping. But I always thought I was safer with a 9-to-5. So I ultimately got my master's in counseling, and I did that and somehow ventured off into real estate. Okay.
Did you actually pick up a counseling job, or
Mm-hmm.
so where were you working? How was that? Like, when did you say, you know what, nah, forget this counseling, I'm just...
Well, counseling definitely has a soft part in my heart as well. I still do it. I do some hours in the school now working with children. I'm a therapeutic day treatment counselor as well. But for the past 4
Can you
years,
elaborate on that?
Therapeutic day treatment. So if you have children in school that are misbehaving, instead of them getting expelled.
Oh, you got the bad kids.
We don't want to call them bad. I keep them from getting expelled or, placed out of school. I keep them, in the classroom, make sure that they're behaving okay to get through the school year, and just a barrier in between, them getting kicked out and staying in, okay? But before that, I was working with suicidal and homicidal clients.
Okay. How was that?
I love it. I love crisis. I love helping people, and every career that I've had was ultimately helping others.
Did you just say I love crisis?
I love.
Oh, like in a good way. I
love helping those that are in crisis. I do.
I was like, hold on, elaborate on that.
Funny. So give you a little backstory. The way that I got to real estate, I was in the military. Got out of the military. I have a good friend in Georgia. She and her husband fix and flip properties. Okay. So I always looked at it, I was like, man, look like they're making a lot of money, like they're doing good. Mm-hmm. But I was like, nope, let me play it safe. So I bought a property, didn't think anything of it, still watching them. I ultimately became a police officer, and then that's how I jumped into...
Wait a minute.
I know, hold on.
She a cop. Hold on.
I'm going somewhere with this.
Johnny.
It's so funny. So I ultimately became a police officer for almost 6 years. Then I got my master's in counseling, and then somehow I just, instead of me thinking about real estate all the time and researching, because you can only research for so long, and I was like, let me just do it, and then I started the investing part, and then I placed the counseling part, part-time now, because it does take a lot out of you, and real estate, I'm very passionate about it. I love it. Yeah.
So so originally from South Carolina, how was that transition from South Carolina to Virginia? Because that's where you're doing the real estate at, right? So how did that come about?
So prior military, I was in the military. I'm an Army veteran. Look how he's looking like, what in the world? So
I'm like blown away. I'm like, what the fuck?
I'm an Army veteran. So I left South Carolina at the age of 19, and I ended up in North Carolina. That's why I served as a police officer. And then probably about 4 years ago, I ended up in Virginia, and that's where I started real estate.
Okay.
I want to know some cop stories before we move forward. Like,
well, let's go. It's crazy because I can see it. Now that you say it, I can,
it all comes together now.
It all makes sense. Yeah, definitely can see it. But yeah, so give us some crazy experiences you had out there, like patrolling, like when were you challenged? Give us one of your challenging stories. It was like, wait a minute, they didn't train me for this.
Tase them.
Oh gosh, yeah. I guess when I was introduced to the mental health piece, because I'm a person that, hey, how you doing? You know, the smile. And I walked into a home and the lady, you know, no furniture, and just think of a dark room. She's sitting in the middle of the floor with a chair with a belt, and she's just doing this. And I was a trainee, and I walked in, and my training officer's in the car. And I say, hey, how are you doing? How can I help you? And she was like, why do you have this smile on your face? And I'm like, what's wrong with this lady? And she charged at me. And I was like, oh, crap. I thought stuff was about to go south. So my training officer saved the day. But from then on, I understand that, you know, keep a poker face. You know, everyone, your smile, just because it looks inviting, that person, especially with mental health, they are not going to receive it that way. It
was more like they seem kind of insulted. Like, I'm about to like beat you up. Why are you smiling? Like,
she's schizophrenic. So of course, if you're hearing things, and you know, I come in there talking and smiling, you think I'm more than likely an image or the enemy that you think you're seeing.
That explains the whole crisis. I get it now. Now everything's coming together, because it's just it was definitely a curveball right there. Yeah. Like, did you ever find yourself like, why did I pick this? Or because of your military background, you're just like, you know, it's part of the role.
The only time I've only questioned my role as a police officer when I got assaulted by someone that I was arresting. Because I'm like, I don't get paid enough for this. And you're the one that did wrong. Why are you assaulting me? That is the only time I questioned that. But then I still found, you know, like, okay, this is why I'm doing this. So that is the only time. But I never just gave up because, you know, I got, you know, scared or anything like that.
Oh, facts.
So you've been practicing real estate for how long?
Ooh, let's say 24. I bought my first house 24 years old.
Wow.
And I became an agent 2 years ago.
Wow, doing it.
Yes.
So your first home was your first investment?
Yes, and 24 years old. I actually bought a house because everybody else was buying a house. I had no idea what I was doing. And I actually just did a clip on this. Whenever you're buying real estate, make sure you understand and know what's your why. Because I bought a home because everyone else was buying it, and I started off with a $700 mortgage. By the time I sold this home, I was paying $1,400. How does that happen? Because I didn't educate myself. There's different types of mortgages or loans that one can get involved in that I didn't know about. I just bought it because I just wanted to.
Okay. But how is from Virginia or whatever, so how's the housing market in your area, or what trends do you think buyers and both sellers should be aware of right now?
So in the Hampton Roads area, you'll hear me say Hampton Roads, it's the 7 cities. The Hampton Roads area where I am, houses are staying on the market longer. And those houses that are staying on the market, homes are decreasing in prices. So it is a great time for buyers to go ahead and jump in and buy. But other than that, it's still a seller's market.
Okay, you still a seller's, even though prices is dropping.
So let me tell you this. Last year, everyone knows this whirlwind that was going on. People were buying houses, and I placed offers with my buyers, $50,000-$60,000 over. People were buying cash money for these homes because interest rates were so low. So the supply is still low, but demand is still high. So that's why we're in the seller's market.
All right. So with all the information that you have now, you know, your real estate, you know what I'm saying? You went from counseling, police officer, superhero. Now you're doing real estate. Like with the information that you had now, if you're looking back on it, like someone who's interested in purchasing their first home, what would you suggest they do? Like, you know, you said you can research, but what are we researching? What should we be looking out for?
Okay, so of course, educating yourself, researching. Understand what do you want to do in real estate. Real estate has so many avenues that you can go into. You can actually invest into real estate without purchasing property. A lot of people think, oh, I want to get into real estate. Let me fix and flip. So understand, what do you want to do? Do you want to diversify your portfolio? Do you want to do short-term leasing? Do you want to do long-term? Do you want to fix and flip? So there's different avenues. Do you want to invest into REITs, real estate investment trusts? That's, you know, just financing. So understand, what do you want to do? Understand what the market is like. What is, you know, when people say understand the market, what does that mean? Because a lot of people think that they can go into these neighborhoods in any market, fix and flip a home and make thousands of dollars. That's not so. Because you can buy too high. And then guess what? You have buyer's remorse.
That makes total sense. That makes total sense. Would you say, would you suggest, in your opinion, to buy a multi-family unit or a single-family home if you're making your first purchase?
So I would say buy a smart investment first and foremost. And I say that because, especially if you're using your first-time home buyer's loan or a VA loan. VA loan, first-time home buyer's loan, you can buy up to 4 units. That's multifamily, right? You can buy a single family as well. You can buy a single family, use that property to buy another property. You can buy a multifamily, use that property to buy other properties. But you need to make sure that you're buying the right property, okay? Just because your VA loan says, hey, you have up to $700,000, that doesn't mean go buy a $700,000 house. Go buy a $300,000 house, wherever you are, and you can use that VA loan more than once. Use that, then a year later, you stay in it because you know you have to, it's owner occupied. Use that, then go buy another home, okay? So ultimately, to answer your question, if you want to buy a duplex, you can live in one side, rent out the other, ultimately be rent-free. Or you can buy several doors, right? And then we call that cash cow if you bought right. And you can use that cash flow to go and use it as leverage to go buy other properties. Either one, because there are people that have duplexes that are Airbnbs that make more money than someone who has an apartment building. Understanding the market, understanding what type of investment you have. That's all it comes down to.
All right. But you touched on it earlier with, like, in the past, interest rates was low. Right now, interest rates is like at 20% for buying a house. I'm just playing. All right, it's not 20%. But with them being so high, how's it affecting the market right now? Like, is this, well, I mean, is it more beneficial for the buyer, or is it more obviously it ain't been for the buyer? It's not. I would say it's not beneficial for the buyer or the seller, because it's the buyer. Man, I'm gonna just let you explain. What is the interest rate doing to the market out there where you at?
So first and foremost, let's understand this. Interest rates, I think they're almost at 7 now. That's not high. It's higher than last year. Of course, you want that 2.5% interest rate on your mortgage, right? But someone listened to their friend, cousin, that said, hey, wait till the market crash, then buy your house, right? So interest rates are higher than they were last year, but they're not as high as they can be. So a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, interest rates are so high, I want to buy. Why? It doesn't make sense. You more than likely will never see that 2.5 that you saw last year again. And if you look historically, interest rates have been higher than 6 and 7%. But right now, buyers are scared. That's why we've seen, like, I've had buyers like, no, I'm going to just wait. Okay, just wait. Sellers, their homes are staying on the market longer. But guess what? Buyers have room to haggle now. Sellers are paying closing costs now. Sellers are participating in, I'm not a loan officer, so don't go into depth with this with me, but sellers are actually paying or participating in, the interest rate buy down program. Didn't know about that, right? Where you can actually get a few percent off. Like, say, for instance, the interest rates now are 6%. There are loans, mortgage loans out there that say, hey, we have a program. We'll take 2% off right now for the first 2 years of your mortgage. The seller pays that, and boom, you're in a home. So just be creative. Ask questions. Don't think that, hey, I want to apply for a loan and just go buy a house. No, educate yourself. Get you an agent that knows what he or she is doing. Get you a good loan officer, because loan officers, like when I bought my first home, they put me in a loan that actually just went up, from $700 to $1,400. I didn't know what I was doing. So make sure you have a good loan officer. Make sure you have a good agent, and don't listen to your family and friends all the time either. They're not the professionals.
Most definitely. But when you kind of touched on it briefly, though, like as far as because I wanted to know, like, what incentives. Because, like, business still got to take place. You know what I'm saying? We still got to move this product. You know what I'm saying? So with interest rates being so high, but you kind of hinted on that, was like, the actual seller is actually participating in the programs.
Yes.
Do you know of any other incentives that are going on right now?
Sellers are paying closing costs. Look into new builds, new constructions. A lot of new construction I think that is like the best thing going right now, new construction, because you can actually leave the closing table with a check. They have so many incentives, like, we'll pay your closing costs. Right now there's new homes on the market in my area where they're taking $20,000 off the listing price, giving you, I think it's $13,000, $15,000 for upgrades, and where you can use it any way that you want. You can pay your HOA dues or condo fees or whatever you want, but there's a lot of things that you can look for when buying a home, and mention these things to your agents. First, of course, you need to understand that these things are out there. So mention these things to them so they can specifically look for these type of properties, and not just say, hey, this is a property. Like, no, I want properties that actually has incentives, and make sure, of course, don't just buy because it has incentives, but it's in a neighborhood that you want to be in as well, and it's a home that you actually like.
Okay. GQ Nesto, anything?
Shit, like...
Because you're involved in this industry, aren't you?
Yeah, no, I'm just letting I'm letting her have her shine. You know what I mean? Let her speak. You know what I mean? Yeah, I honestly, I just think that there's a lot of misinformation nowadays. Unfortunately, there's a lot of agents out there that and loan officers, right? That don't specify certain, benefits that could affect affect and benefit the buyer at the same time. For instance, like what she was saying, elaborating on the whole rates being high. I think one of the biggest things that the consumer doesn't acknowledge is the fact that rents are going high. So either you have a choice of either renting and paying somebody else's mortgage, or you could pay your own. Now, here's the kicker: interest rates, all the interest that you pay, that 6.75% that you're going to be paying right now, it's a tax write-off. Right. So, especially with inflation and everything that's going down the way it is, you need these type of write-offs, because about 90% of people don't keep the same home loan for 30 years. Right. So, like, people are going to refinance. People are going to send their kids to college. They're going to do a lot of things. Now, I've been in this industry back in 2008. So, like, I saw the whole thing crash and come back on. And it's just a cycle. And the thing is it's like, just like life is, it's a marathon. It's not a race. So you just have to be able to use the appropriate loan program. Like, for example, you have ARM programs. ARM programs are pretty, and what I mean by ARM program for all the audience is an ARM program is basically a loan that's fixed for, there's several kinds of ARM programs. There's fixed for 3 years, fixed for 5 years. Rule of thumb is you want to be in a loan program for minimum, you want to do a 5-year, because why 5 years? Because you're going to have a president for 4 years, right? So you're going to see a lot of transitions within those 4 years. So at that point, ARM programs are a good way to kind of just stand by while everything settles. You could also do interest only. So there's ways for you to be able to save money, but at the same time, help your tax situation, your tax bracket, yes. Depending on what tax bracket, all these high interest rate might benefit you yes. more than what you think, that's why I say that there's a lot of misinformation out there that you have Instagram realtors, Instagram loan officers that they have clout. I'm not gonna hate on that, but as far as the knowledge and how to balance and budget a homeowner's perspective, budget, like basically teach them how they can balance the boat, because that's really what it all comes down to. Real estate, it's always going to be profitable. It's always going to be something that it's going to be a tax deductible. So all you have to do is balance out everything in order for you to be able to stay profitable, get residual income, and then you can go on to the next thing. And guess what? 4 years happen pretty quick. Look at this. We're now in 2022. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people right now, and now, as far as one of the things that you were touching on the whole buy down, right? Buy down on the rate. I mean, yes, it helps, but I don't think I think there's other ways to go about it. I mean, specifically, you might want to try to target your credit unions. There's certain banks that have relationship discount. So sometimes, like, you may have a 401k of, like, at work for $500,000, right? You bring it over to another institution, they'll be able to shave that. So now you can do a combination of both, or you could even use that as a way of, like, eliminate your closing costs. Because now, remember, closing costs is going to raise your loan amount. So, like, if there's ways that you're going to save, it just really comes down to case by case of how you want to save and what is the purpose of that savings plan or whatever. And if obviously you're in the market of like being the first time home buyer, then obviously you just need to get the information. You just go out there and don't listen to some bullshit thing that's on the internet that has a nice reel or whatever. Like, no, go actually and talk to somebody that's actually a professional and that actually isn't trying to sell you. So
just not trying to close the deal.
Right.
Now, we talking about all this property ownership and buybacks and loans, but you ain't doing none of that if your credit is messed up, right? So I know you probably, both of you guys probably experience that a lot. What would you suggest, like, for those who are maybe struggling? People always say do the credit repair and stuff like that, but even that in itself is a hustle for the most part, in my opinion. What would you suggest someone do who's going through that?
There are reputable credit repair people, but I can tell you there are people out there that's in this industry that's just taking people's money. I've had clients come to me like, I've been in this program for 2 years and their credit still ain't fixed. But having poor credit definitely will stop you from getting a home loan. But understand this, there are other ways to get into real estate. If you have poor credit but you have cash, guess what? Partner with someone. Become a private money lender. Look into seller financing. Do things, get creative with it. If you have cash and your credit is bad, or you have bad credit, or you have cash, whatever case be. I just did a group project, a group flip. And it's still in the market, Indianapolis, Indiana, if anyone is looking for a home. But we just did a group flip. We don't have, $200,000 or $300,000 to go buy ourselves to go into buy this home cash, because cash is king. Right. But we all, 3 or 4 of us, have enough money to go and buy this property. So get creative, partner with someone. You don't always have to do this by yourself. And, you don't have to actually buy physical real estate. You don't have to actually buy a home or land or whatever the case may be. Invest into REITs. Educate yourself on that too. So understand you can invest into real estate without touching real estate.
Are you familiar with the Airbnb hustle? Because like right now, that's just popping on Instagram. Like, I can tell you, you can make money on Airbnb. You see this house, it ain't even mine. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, do you know a little bit about that? Can you explain?
Yes, I do. I have some knowledge on it from a property that I own, and also being in an apartment, and actually being an Airbnb guest during transitions. First, if you don't own that property, make sure that you're asking your landlord, because ultimately you're subleasing that property. So once you get permission from your landlord, place that unit, that room, or whatever you case be, on the Airbnb platform, because understand Airbnb is a platform. You have Airbnb, you have VRBO, you have Furnish Finder. You can make your own platform, whatever the case may be. And once you do that, start renting it out. But if you own that property, you don't have to ask anyone. But cities are getting so particular with Airbnb. They're getting angry. You know, they want their money too. So making sure that you're zoned correctly is a big thing. Don't think that, oh my gosh, this house is by the beach, or this home is in the business district, I'm gonna go buy this home in Airbnb. No, that's not the case, because there's zoning. But I always say your end goal should not be, if you're subleasing, to go and just do Airbnb, because you're paying a mortgage, you're building equity, but it's just not yours. So, use that to go buy some property, make some money, build some equity, and pay your own mortgage. But I cannot stress enough about zoning. The property that I bought last year was a duplex by the beach. I thought I hit the jackpot, y'all. Yeah. And I was like, this is an Airbnb duplex. And that summer, oh my gosh, I made so much money. I was renting it out for $275 a night. And I stayed booked. And guess what the city did? Guess what?
They taxed you.
Oh, yeah, they taxed me, but they say, hey, you're no longer zoned. You can't be grandfathered in.
Wow.
But guess what? I made a smart investment, because that duplex is zoned business and residential. So guess what? Right now I have 3 potential incomes from that one property. I'm not relying on Airbnb. I'm not relying on short-term renting.
Dang, straight hustle.
Hustle.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, being an agent, I know you own and you flipping and you flopping, but I'm pretty sure you help a client purchase their first home. Mm-hmm. How was that process, and are you still in contact with them?
Yes, I work mostly with investors. I love working with investors. I do work with first-time home buyers as well. I stay more in contact with my investors because, they're always constantly, hey, you have something, or I'm always constantly texting, emailing, hey, this is a property. But my first-time home buyers, I definitely stay in contact with them, because buying a property is just the beginning. Owning the property is when the real work starts. So they actually have questions, and I'm glad to have that relationship with them, because moving to Virginia, I didn't have any connections. So I keep that open relationship with them so that, they can, make my business grow. I definitely keep in contact with them.
Okay. All right. And also, because I don't want to let this slide, because this is your opportunity, to put it out there into the universe. But when speaking with you, you said that you do speak out against domestic violence. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to get a little backstory on that, on why that's important to you, and what message you want to put out there.
Okay. It is October. It is DV Awareness, Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Oh, today? This month is October? I didn't know that.
Yes, it is. Breast cancer and domestic violence awareness. So I told you I was a police officer for 6 years. During that time, as a police officer, I didn't understand why victims could be assaulted, call us, get mad at us because we're taking the abuser to jail. I didn't understand why she would bail him out. I didn't understand why she would let him back in her house. Until I became that girl. Until I became a victim as a police officer. And I was a domestic violence liaison officer at that. So I was preaching and wasn't, going back home and getting abused. So you never fully understand the victim mindset until you actually become the victim. Though that time was tough, I am so grateful for those times, because I could have do without the lesson, of course, but I'm grateful for it because it helped me form my nonprofit Purple Service Announcement that I'm so passionate about. you know, and it ultimately ties into real estate as well. But that's a soft spot in my heart, definitely.
So because I'm pretty sure no one wakes up or imagines ever being in situations like you have been in, right? Mm-hmm. Like you said, like, yo, I was the advocate, you know what I'm saying? I was the liaison, and here I am experiencing this same. Like, did you feel like a hypocrite at that time? Like,
ooh, you know, I didn't care about what I looked like to anyone else. And that is so funny how the victim mindset is, because they don't care what mama say, don't care what daddy say, don't care how they look. And I was a whole police officer. Of course, I love.
Where did he meet you?
Where?
I just want to know. You know what I mean?
I met him in a club.
Oh, okay. That was a red flag right there.
Right. But I didn't care what anyone thought, because I thought I was operating out of love, but I was not receiving that. And today I understand that, you know, you can operate out of love, but, you know, you need to operate out of love for the right reasons. But I did not feel like a hypocrite. I feel like that I learned a great lesson, because I understand now the judicial system. I was so embarrassed in court. I went to court one time, never went back. You know why? Because they made me feel so small. Now I understand why victims don't call the police. I understand why victims don't show up to court. So I understand why victims feel like this piece of paper ain't gonna protect me. So, I mean, I empathize.
But okay, so you were in that whole process, right? And then, like, where did it go out of hand? Like, at what point did you see it? Because I mean, you're seeing that shit for work, right? And then later on, you're like, you know, personal life, you're justifying maybe his action wrong. Like, did it start like kinky, where it was like, oh shit, I'm dating a cop, you know what I mean? and then later on, like, oh shit, like he wasn't listening to the safe word or something. Like where was it the disconnect where obviously you're serving the public, but then you're not serving yourself?
Mm-hmm. At that time, I was going to school for mental health, and the type of spirit I have is a helping spirit, and I always want to help people. He had a drinking problem. I'm like, I can fix this person.
You had a Build-A-Bear workshop.
Man.
Build-A-Bear workshop.
This person.
Yeah.
And I felt like, oh, he didn't mean that. It was the alcohol, because he was the greatest person when he wasn't drunk. So I justified it because I always try to see the good in people.
He got you.
Got me, man.
He got you.
Not no more.
So what was that point to where you said enough is enough? Where you was like, because I mean, it's not to insult your intelligence, but you know what's wrong and what is not comfortable for you, and you still dealt with it. But like, at what point where you was like, nah, bump this, I'm out.
Enough was enough. Let me tell you how the victim mind is so just like, man. Even when I was on my knees, he made me get on my knees and say my prayers with a gun to my head, right?
Ooh.
And my service weapon at that, my police officer weapon.
Wow.
And an angel came. Someone knocked on the door selling Kirby vacuum cleaners. No lie.
Kirby.
And that's what saved my life, right? But guess what I did? I still bailed him out of jail.
No, you didn't, girl.
I bailed him out of jail. And you know what was the stopping point? When he started stalking me, when he was living in my house and I didn't know. He was living in my attic, I didn't know. That is how I ended up in Virginia. Because I was running from the abuse.
How the hell you didn't hear him?
Because he would leave whenever I went to work. I was finding like my garbage would get full. I was like, dang, but I'm thinking, because trauma.
So he was polite. He was polite. He was cleaning everything after himself.
Trauma does something to the brain. Shit. So I thought I was tripping, but when I had to, not sleep in my bed and sleep on my couch with a gun and a knife, I was like, I can't live like this. I have to go. So I started my life over in Virginia.
Was he in jail?
The judicial system. After I got embarrassed in court, I never went to court again. I spoke with the DA probably once on the phone, and he got probation, violated his probation because he got like 2 more domestic violence cases. Oh, and before I dated him, he had 1 open case, didn't know about that, but he had 2 more domestic violence cases open while he was on probation, got a year in prison. He didn't even serve the whole year and got out.
She's not lying with the judicial system.
I
think we're, especially as a minority, we're forced to take a deal or to our feelings or anything doesn't matter. It's just, oh, well, you should have never brought that upon yourself. You know, so I think it's, you know, she's not lying on that shit.
Exactly what the judge was like.
You're a cop. Why would you do that? Like, why are you going to let him smack you?
This man had like 14, 15 charges at the time. And the judge was like, he seems like a pretty bad guy. And I was like, yes, he is. He's like, so why are you with him? That's not your place to ask me that. You're here to uphold the law. You're not here to, you know, put me through a counseling session. And I could not do that again in front of my peers that, you know, I go to court with. I'm sitting there trying to, you know, there for tickets for people who run in stop signs and stuff like that. But here you are in front of my peers belittling me or judging me, I would say.
I don't want to say in his defense, but I think some people may think like, bruh, you asking for help on a situation that you put yourself in. You know what I'm saying? And I think, you know, like when you take that oath as a police officer or judge or whatever it is, when you serving, you know what I'm saying, the community, I think you go in with good intentions sometimes, like, yo, I'm about to fix the system. And then after so much, you just like, bruh, like you're doing this to yourself.
That's what professionalism kicks in. You can think that all you want, but understand professionalism. Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? Are you doing more? He's not a counselor. He's a judge. You're
very black and white.
Yes, you're supposed to read the charges, tell me what he's facing, ask me what I want to do, and let me go. You don't question me about why I stayed in a situation. That's why I have my domestic violence advocate beside me,
right?
Not you. So I don't.
Now, do you think that it has a lot to do with being a minority that people just freaking let that shit slide? If Karen was in the same situation, do you think she would have a better approach on that? Well, not a better approach, better results.
You see how they shut down America to look for somebody who don't look like us.
Yes, I do. I believe we get poorly treated, especially because I'm a police officer. I bring charges to you, and I guess, you know, if you're not a certain color or you're not wearing that uniform, that's how I felt, then you're just a little black girl. That's how I felt.
Ooh.
That's crazy.
I don't blame you for quitting. You're like, fuck this. I'm about to make some more money.
They probably would fire me. Look, I'm bailing the felon out of jail or prison or whatever.
But that's wrong. Like, that's the problem with this freaking country. That, like, okay, you saw that wrong, right? But what was, like, you just quit and that's it? Like, or did you try to fight it? Because I think that's what we need to do nowadays. Is like we need to fight for our rights, not in a I want to say like in a ignorant way, but like use the same fine print that they used against you, you know, and use it on them. And I think that, like, I mean, did you complain with the mayor, city mayor? Like, I mean, there's a lot of things that right. Like that judge shouldn't even be being a judge.
I wrote a letter. I forgot what they called the head judge or whatever case may be. I did write a letter, and it stayed on my computer because I felt like I didn't have the energy. I didn't want to give the energy once I moved to Virginia to fight that. But I wrote a whole letter because it was dead wrong, and I wish I would have went through with it. But
you see that's the problem. Like we're forced. Yep. Okay, we're not. Obviously, I was talking earlier about like settling in court, right? But we're settling from a personal standpoint as well. Like somebody does me wrong, you know, best believe I'm calling the mayor, I'm calling the city, I'm calling
nowadays, yes.
You know, I'm calling everybody because you're not gonna freaking, just because I'm a minority, you're not gonna treat me this way, and it's not acceptable, and it's only gonna be acceptable until we stand up and rise. And I'm not talking about rise, like I said, in an ignorant way, but rise up, do your homework. There's law libraries, there's so much shit that you could use for your, you know, for your own benefit, and you know, make the difference. Because now, like, God knows how many police officers they've been doing that, you know?
You know something? Now that you say this, while I was on the straight and narrow before I met this guy, I remember responding to one of my fellow police officers, Caucasian guy, home. He assaulted his girlfriend, was on the SWAT team and everything. And, you know, I don't want to lie, but I know when I left, he was still an officer. Caucasian guy, they, you know, went to his home, helped him grab his stuff out of the home and, you know, like, hey, stay at my place. Me? I know I was looking at getting fired.
Really?
Yeah. So, you know, and that happened at least this was the second time that Caucasian police officer had an instance with him. And I know when I left, there was a Hispanic, no, he was Indian, Native American. He actually assaulted his girlfriend, and he got fired. He went to jail too, and got fired. But I didn't see that with, you know, the Caucasian ones. So now that you say that, it does ring a bell.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty fucked up. Like, I think we see this every day, and people, just because they don't want to draw any attention to themselves, or they don't want to be embarrassed, or they don't want family to know, but then you just let this shit continue, and when is it going to stop? You know what I mean? When is it going to stop? I think we can't complain as minorities about the deficiencies that we have in this the deficiency that we have in this judicial system. Like, we need to speak up, and we need to, like, go out there and like, don't put up with shit. Like, you know, because we're basically enabling like the judicial system. We're enabling them to keep treating us the way they treat us. And then next thing you know, we have all these political bullshit of like, let's go march. I don't know if you guys heard about the whole Black Lives Matter, how they made about $79 million and then they don't know where the money's at.
Yeah.
But then they get mad at Kanye for wearing White Lives Matter. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know. Let's stick to that, because I don't want to get into that. Like, it's the whole politic part about it. But yeah, it's bullshit.
So what? Let's jumping back to real estate, right? Let's talk about this money, right? So what is the percentages that you can earn as an agent when you're buying, or how you can double dip as well too if you're representing the buyer and the seller? Like what can you potentially earn when you're helping someone purchase and sell a house?
So that can depend where you are. Where we are, I know y'all have, you know, I think I saw someone 8-9%, but 6% is our going rate. 3% to the buyer, 3% to buyer's agent, 3% to the listing agent. That can vary on the seller, because the seller can say, nah, I only want to do 2.5. And you, as an agent, you can take the deal or not. But I need buyers to understand that whenever you're talking about commissions, you are not paying the agent's commissions. That is the seller. So don't think that, you know, you're paying us to help you find a home, because that's a very big misconception.
Most step. What do you want your legacy to be?
I want my legacy, I want to be remembered as the woman who unselfishly helped others achieve happiness and success, even if it meant surpassing my own. I think I was placed in this world to help others. I love it. And I don't do it for likes. I don't do it for attention. I don't do it because like people like praise me or anything like that. It's just something that naturally happens.
So one word to describe your legacy, what would it be?
I don't know if this is one word.
Well, what is it? What comes to mind?
Go-getter, resilient, strong. Yeah, those are the words.
Okay.
Being through your journey, because it's funny that it's so crazy how our last couple of sessions like all interconnect. Definitely we wasn't talking about real estate, but we was talking about the journey in itself. And we was talking about how there are times where in the darkness, strength and perseverance and creativity can start in the dark. You think of a seed, you put it in soil, you water it, you know what I'm saying? The sunlight hits it and it sprouts. I just think it's amazing with going through what you've been through, and I can see how you are in the service industry, but why? But why is real estate such a passion for you?
Real estate is a passion for me because I'm a country girl. Like I said, the city that I grew up in, probably has 3 city lights, 3 stoplights. So I don't even think I ever heard the word real estate in our household. I grew up in a double wide trailer. People make money off of trailers. Trailers are real estate. But I grew up in a double wide trailer. I knew that my dad's boss had a big house. They had money. But I never understood real estate until my greed for knowledge became apparent the older I got. Let me put this into perspective. Real estate, if you look at millionaires, most of them own, the majority of them own real estate in some form. Last week, I walked the floors of an $8.9 million home. Still in the market. If you want to look at it, let me know. I walked the floors of this $8.9 million home. They bought this home back in 1994 for $850,000. Talk about generational wealth. So the moral of the story, don't sell granny house. That one property is that one property is changing lives.
Right.
I'm not that good at math, but $850,000 to $8.9 million, and it will sell. Think about it.
Shit. That's a good appreciation neighborhood.
Well, yeah, well, no, because he's definitely like Nesto, GQ Nesto gets on me all the time about the purchasing real estate because I don't want to say I'm more, but I'm also interested in the NFTs and the stock markets and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, no, bro, let me tell you a way. And we hear it all the time, or at least I hear it all the time, is that's a way to generational wealth is real estate, like you said. So that's pretty dope that you just said. Like, and people need to like hear that again. Like, don't sell granny's house. Like, keep that. I mean, because in my opinion, like, I don't know, as minorities, I mean, maybe the Asians do it, you know, the Indian, Southeast Asians do it, you know what I'm saying? But, like, black folks, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we ain't trying to work together like that.
Right.
You know, because you see, you'll see, like, 4 or 5 families living in one house. And what they do is, you know, because it's so affordable, they pay off that house, and then they leave one family behind, and then they go purchase another house. You know what I'm saying? And it just keeps going and going and going. And then before you know it, the community is all in. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's just a smart way to do it. And I really wish, you know, we as a people could, you know, realize that. And I'm pretty sure there are those that are out there who are, you know what I'm saying, working together with a common goal.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not about selfishness or my people better than your people or anything like that. But it's like, yo, it's funny he brought out Kanye or whatever because we still talking about 40 acres and a mule. All right, well, will that ever happen? I don't know. Not in our lifetime, I don't believe. Or reparations, I don't know. Maybe, hopefully. But there's other things that we can do if we just work together as a team.
It's funny you said that. That home that I was speaking of, the $8.9 million, it has 3 different levels. It was their family home. Mama, son, and the son's children, wife. They all were in that home. He raised his children. That the owner raised his grandchildren in that home with his kids.
Tight. Now they're about to cash out.
Man, I just need a buyer.
8.9. 8.9. All right, so I got a question for you. What makes you happy outside of real estate?
And don't give the cookie.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we want to know the raw truth. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to ball out. I need some Louis V's.
I want a helicopter.
I want the helicopter. Like, shit. Tell us really what makes you happy.
I always keep it real. You know, I always thought that money would make me happy. And, you know, the more you get, you like, nah, just a little bit more now make me happy. Money doesn't make me happy. It doesn't. Now, it's needed. I need it, of course, but it doesn't make
that 2.5% on a $8 million house, I think it would make you really happy.
Forget about this stuff real quick. No, it's 3%.
Oh, okay. Okay,
that
3% on $8 million. If somebody has a calculator, please, you know.
Well, you can go 10% on $8 million. That's $800,000. You know what I'm saying? Half of that, that's $400,000. So about 3%, that's probably about $325,000.
Let's take out the calculator. Let's take out the calculator, man. Like,
it's in the threes. It should be in the threes.
Let's see. You said you said 8.5 million, right?
8.9.
That's about the
8.9.
I'm about to go slap somebody money that right there.
Pulling up because
that's just one transaction. They ain't saying what you got in the pipeline.
That's 267,000 to be exact.
All right. 267.
So I'm pretty sure that's gonna make you happy.
It'll give me some like, oh, I did it. But I recently sold a $1.2 million unit.
You had to cut out your broker a lot, or what?
No, not really.
Okay.
But I was hustling for it. I wanted it, and I was like, yes, this is about to be it. The accomplishment, I really love that more than the paycheck. Yeah, it was a lot. But in this part of my life, sorry to get all mushy, but in this part of my life, I've experienced so much. I understand success is going to come to me. I just feel like it's natural. Money will come to me, manifest in that. A partner that's on the same wavelength as me will make me happy. Someone that I can hustle with.
Combined income.
Yes. Now I'm talking about money and exactly what I want. So a partner that's going to mirror me, make me go even harder. Someone that I don't have to build up. Yeah.
Damn. So now, is that something that it's something that you've kind of like it's been a life goal since day one that you've been trying to aim that, or you just got to that point where I'm like, this motherfucker better make some money?
No, I've always been a career-driven woman. So I've never been like, oh my gosh, I want to be married with kids and all this. It's now that I'm getting older, I'm like, I can't do this forever. I can't, I love traveling, but it gets a little bit boring. Like this birthday is definitely different than any other birthday.
Happy belated birthday also as well.
Thank you. This birthday is definitely different because I'm like, I don't want to do this next year. I don't want to be on my birthday trip by myself next year. It's good that I can do it, but
put it out there in the universe.
Oh, trust me, I got a lock note in my phone right now.
But you changed your type of guy, right? You don't want him like he better have a felony. You know what I mean?
I didn't go asking for that. Yes, my standards, what I accept, my standards have always been there.
Okay.
But I've always brought them back down. Like, okay, I see potential. I can't work off potential anymore.
No more Build-A-Bear.
Can't work off potential. Who are you?
Let me fix you.
Exactly. I can't do that. Who are you? Who are you now? And if I can accept this, then we move forward. Yeah.
Shit.
So we got. What did I ask? Like, what makes you happy? So
a partner.
A partner.
A bomb partner.
That's
somebody
it.
Bomb.
Combined income. That's what makes her happy. So technically, it is money. You know what I mean? She trying to get that 267 plus. Let me add his pension.
You hit it right on the. That's funny, but it's true.
100%.
A partner, combined income. Because money, the way that our economy is going, you need that.
Hell yeah. Inflation?
You definitely do.
Inflation?
That's mortgage.
Even
without the inflation, just think about cost of living alone.
Yes.
Love don't pay the bills.
Like, dude, it don't.
Exactly.
It sure don't. It don't.
And I ain't about to pay the bills by myself. When I have another body, right?
No, hell no. Like,
so,
at least got a pension.
So would you do 50-50 split? Or how would you do it?
I would do anything other than what I'm doing now. I'm doing 100%.
For sure.
So
wait, no. What were you talking about the split?
Like, because she said, if I got a partner, I don't want to be 100% paying for these bills.
So like combined income, like checking account, or you got your money, I got my money, and then
we're gonna come together on this in the middle.
Yeah, whatever you came to the table with, you can. I don't mind you keeping your own bank account. We can start one together.
So you'll take a prenup?
Yes, I will.
But you being because it's not. But you being like successful right now, probably financially independent. That ain't my business. But just assuming that, right? Are you that guy who approaches you with that Mr. Potential? Does he have to be at a certain annual income amount? Like,
oh no, I am not that girl.
Check his LinkedIn and shit.
Yeah. No, I'm not that girl. I don't do potential. I don't do the guy who's like, oh yeah, one day I want to do this. Nah, if I see you actually working towards your goal, and I'm like, okay, I love people with hustle. I love people with ambition. I love to see. I can see where you're going. Not that you have to look. This is what I want to do one day. No.
But check this out. There's nothing wrong with that though.
Yeah.
There's really nothing wrong. Okay, there is obviously the traditional, like Kanye says, gold digger. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I think you gotta manifest it as well. Like this motherfucker better have some sort of like establishment, like be established to some extent. So like you do want to be that girl because you want to make sure that you're coming in with somebody, because you know being broke is an option, right? And it can and people when they have that, they take that option, that shit becomes like, that shit comes generic. You know what I mean? So next thing you know, you're not gonna push your kids. You're not gonna push, you know, your whoever you got it, you know, playing stepdaddy or whatever. You're not gonna push them because you were never forced to that. So like, I think that's one of the, especially, you know, I hear females saying that, like, no, I'm not that girl. There's nothing wrong with being that girl. As long as you know that there's a greater good to that, then be that girl. You know what I mean? Put it out there. Put it in the universe. You know what I mean?
Women are outnumbered. You know, we outnumber y'all. So with me, I'm basically a unicorn. I'll call it myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm successful. No children. I'm beautiful. I'm in shape. You know, I have myself together, right?
Work it now.
I come basically with no baggage. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I like to talk a little bit, talk too much, but I come basically with no baggage. But if I'm saying I want a man with no kids, he better be making the same amount of money as me. He better be good looking. Because if I put my list out there, I'll probably never be.
No.
Okay.
No.
I want him to be good looking and with money.
It's a gamble. It's a gamble, yes, but it could work, right?
Yeah.
And I think that it just comes down to, because that's really, we were talking about this yesterday. It's like you have to manifest it, right? And sometimes it's like, I'm not saying say, hey, what's your net worth, but at the same time is you can kind of, you know, pinpoint where this, you know, individual is going.
Manifesting my husband.
Okay.
It's in his lock, so you'll never see it. But I have who I want.
You had a whole journal and shit and everything.
Oh, I write down everything. I write down everything. Yeah. So I'm manifesting him, but I'm also being real too. You know, being realistic.
Okay, so now you're manifesting it, and then you said that there's a potential that it might not go your way. So now, what are your side effects? Like, why do you think you're like scaring that, you know, manifestation away? Like, you smack them or something? Like you're control freak?
I don't understand what's the problem. No, and you know it's so funny. This is all coming together. Someone placed on Facebook today. You know, what's hard about dating you? And I told him, I said, you know what, I'm going to answer that a little later. But when I think about it, one of them was I always want to push someone towards their potential. And men usually don't like that. They want to be manly. Let me do it myself. Sometimes I overthink. A lot of times I overthink. I get up wanting to talk in the morning. Like, I'm always wanting to talk. Simple things, right? Something else. I think that's about it. I don't have... Yeah, I'm not.
But you just said it right there. You pinpointed. Like you said some, and I wouldn't even call them men. I would say boys don't like to be pushed, right? So that means that's not even a man.
You're right.
That's not even a man, because there's always a great woman behind a great man.
Man, see.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the part where we're missing out on that. Like it's everything's so generalized that sometimes we miss those little points, because I'm not gonna lie, like that I think the ability of a woman has can take a man a long way as far as his effort, his way of doing things. Like, if he's put in the right track with somebody whispering on his ear to do the right thing, I think the sky's the limit. So I think that's the part. Maybe you're attracting boys.
But that goes both ways, though.
Oh, look, he about to come and defend.
Yeah, no, but that goes both ways, though, because I would like, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, I would believe that someone would like their encouragement, you know, for the man or whatever. You traditional in that sense, you the breadwinner, you go out to do your thing, but I'm not going out to do my thing while you just sitting at the house. So we should both be hustling. You get what I'm saying? We both should be encouraging each other.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? Because there has to be a balance. Yeah, I don't need you wolfing and cheerleading in my ear. That's cool. Like, because I may need that at some point, but I'm out there and I go get the groceries and I come back and I bring the groceries back and I still got to prepare the dinner. Then it's like, what your cheerleading was in it. Like, I want you, let's combine groceries. Let's feast together. And off of this feast, let's invite everybody to the community. And we build as a community and as a team. But most definitely, I would think anyone in a good, nurturing and positive relationship would want that encouragement. If I ain't getting that encouragement from anyone else, I should get that from my partner. I should get that from my wife. I should get that from my girl. You know what I'm saying? But that encouragement, that only goes so far, and then you flip it and be like, so what you doing?
But
you know
okay,
what I'm saying? But what you doing?
To what you're saying is that there is also different love languages. How are you going to understand that love language? Because
we're not talking about love language.
No.
Let's keep it simple. We're talking about encouragement. We're not talking about my love language is touch. My love language is affirmation. We're talking about encouragement. Just keep it simple.
People, the way sometimes express themselves, right? I think sometimes, like, for example, I could speak for myself, right? I'm tough love. Like, I'm going to fucking go and I'm going to criticize the shit out of you, not to criticize you and belittle you, but to rise up to the occasion, right? I just think that that's the part that sometimes love language is aside from the touch or there's a lot more to it. Like, I think sometimes it's a lot harder to transfer that information. Even though you mean good, you seem like a dick, right? So I think that sometimes could be misunderstood. But at the end of the day, like, everything that we do, it's a marathon. It's not a race. And you just have to find yourself, especially with a loved one, you're going to get hurt regardless. But you just got to find the right person that is going to be okay to get hurt from. You know what I mean? Because some people are not worth your tears, right? But then there's some people that, they just need to get smacked around a little quick, and then, they going to snap back into it.
We don't want to smack.
Well, no.
We don't want...
Figure of speech. Figure of speech. Let me correct that. Figure of speech. But, like, no, sometimes we all as individuals get caught on with our own bullshit, right? And sometimes, like, nobody wants to be around somebody negative, And I think that that's the part that sometimes we miss out on. Like, could we responded a better way? Could we avoided that situation to your significant other? There's always, you got to take some sort of accountability before you expect, like, a better reaction from someone.
I think, taking from what you said and what you said, when I say that a lot of men don't like, because I pushed potential, I was messing with boys because a lot of men, anyone loves encouragement, but I was not only encouraging, I was also doing the work. Like, say for instance, he wants to look for a job. Like, okay, babe, you can do this. I'm going to get the job application. I'm filling it out for you, making sure you turned it in. So that is when the boy, I wasn't only doing encouraging, I was doing the work for you. So yeah, that's where that came in. Yeah.
Shit. Dope. All right.
That's what's up.
All right. Clarify. But no, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for tuning in today. As we always do, I open up the microphones to our guests and to our hosts to leave any parting words or wisdom or information they want to share with our viewers and our listeners. Today, our special guest, Tanikia, we open up the mic to you. Is there anything you would like to share? Where can they find you? Make sure you put that out there.
Yes, so you can find me on Instagram. Real of Real Estate is spelled just how it says. I am the girl or the agent in the pink. I always wear pink. It's not my favorite color. But I would leave you with these words. First, it's been a pleasure being here with you all today. But make sure whatever you want to do, stay inspired, get to work, and get it done. We only get one chance at this thing called life. Have them talking about you even when you're gone, but for the right reasons. So just stay inspired.
All right. GQ Nesto.
Shit, I gotta say, I think hard work it's never left unnoticed. And I think sometimes we work hard and we expect certain some sort of results instantly. And I think that that's the part where you kind of have to just hold on, keep trucking, because sooner or later you're going to get paid. So with that being said, I want to thank all of our listeners. Please follow us on all our social media platforms and leave us some comments. Let us know, because I think this is a part where we want to open up our platform to get insight of what's really going out there, and we can definitely throw it out here and relate. And I think that we're all in this together.
Most def. And I would say know your worth and know what's worth working for. All right. But we love you. We thank you. See you guys next time. Option Forward. We out. Peace.